right, switching gears just a little bit here. You know, in television news, we love the phrase breaking news. You probably think we use it a little too much, but we do have some breaking news of sorts, a special announcement for you this evening. It's about a great gift in the peace effort. I won't spoil the surprise, though. Someone else is going to come up to the stage to let you in on it. So let me invite Provost Kenneth Furton to the stage to share the good news.
Thank you. Good evening, members of Cosmos, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you again for FIU's invitation to be here with you this evening. We're very delighted. At a previous dinner, President Rosenberg had made a commitment to the community, and I'm privileged. I've been 7 months as the provost of Florida International University, and if most people don't know what a provost is, the provost is basically the chief operating officer of the university. So what that means is that what the president envisions, the provost is supposed to realize. And so I would like to extend the warm greetings from President Mark Rosenberg, who couldn't be here this evening, but he wanted to make sure that I thank each and every one of you, all of the members of Cosmos and the other friends and sponsors who are here to tell you about FIU and its commitment to what will be the Center for Muslim World Studies. And as many of you know or may not know, if you see people driving around with their cars, they have the 50 on their parking permits now, because FIU was established 50 years ago in 1965. And one of our founding principles was greater international understanding. And we've now grown in the 50 years since its establishment. It's 1972 is when we opened our doors to the first students here in the community. We now have 54,000 students. So we're the fourth largest public research university in the United States. And we continue to grow. We're very blessed to have over 1,000 dedicated world-class faculty and over 5,000 support staff. And at that year in 65, when we were being established, was when the history of really the first Muslim community leaders were being established here and taking root in South Florida. So I think it's very telling that FIU should make an additional commitment in this area. The Islamic issues have been a long-standing high priority within our School of International and Public Affairs. We're a Association of Professional School of International Affairs school, and for over 10 years we've had a Middle East Studies program. And actually Professor Mazbahi back there, a friend of mine, it's been a labor of love for individual faculty to establish this presence for more than a decade. And it's had a number of outstanding teaching and outreach and public service lectures and events and research. But I think we all agree that it's now time to go beyond the Middle East as a focus of our current scale program and to look at Islam on a global scale. And so I'm pleased to announce that we're launching an initiative to establish the Center for Muslim World Studies. And this new center will explore the diversity and the complexity of Islam worldwide, and it'll also highlight the interconnections between Islam and globalization. And there's going to be three main areas that we've established that we would like to study: the global Muslim diaspora, interfaith, as well as intersectarian dialogue, and then also Islam and the human security. So I think this very important project exemplifies the kind of world-class, world-changing initiatives that makes Florida International University, as the public research university here in South Florida, a leader in creating a new breed of global citizens for our local and our global community. The School of International Public Affairs, where this center will be housed, is uniquely positioned to foster significant scholarship in this field of Islamic studies. The center will draw on the school's multidisciplinary academic and research strengths. We have a variety of existing centers and institutes that focus in areas such as Africa, Asia, Europe, and the Americas. And this new center will tap into all of FIU's strengths in these areas, as well as broader interdisciplinary areas, including law, women's studies, business, environmental studies, human rights and diplomacy, the arts, and other fields. So I would like to just close with give you this assurance, and that is that this strategic initiative has the full support and backing of FIU, and especially of our leader, President Mark Rosenberg, as well as my personal commitment as the provost and executive vice president of FIU, that we intend to make this a world-class center, and we're committed to its development. So with that, I want to, it's my pleasure to introduce my friend and of course our noted community leader and former award winner at this event, David Lawrence, who's graciously agreed to accept an invitation along with Mrs. Vivian Diamond and others to serve on the initial advisory board of this new center. And they'll talk to David's going to talk to you a little bit about some of the commitment we have to raise the additional funding that we need in order to make the center really come to life and have a broader impact locally and globally. So thank you all. David?
Ladies and gentlemen, I speak in the spirit of what the provost told you, and my words, as would be Vivian's, are words of affirmation and the fullest support for this. In fact, I think it is a most encouraging development in our community, and Vivian and I and others will pledge to do as much as we can whenever asked. And we believe in this as a place where we all come together in the fullest mutual respect to learn, to grow, and to give. So you know the community we live in. It's on the cutting edge of American pluralism. It is indeed, statistically, demographically, the single most diverse community in urban America. And my neighbors and your neighbors, including literally tens of thousands of who practice the Muslim faith. We live in a community where it seems to me that the only constant is change, and it seems to me that's also true of America. And those who are truly wise understand that and embrace that. If you came to our home, you would find thousands of books, and you would see quickly three categories that predominate. You'd see a lot of history, you'd see a lot of biographies, and you would see a great many works that speak to racism, prejudice, hatefulness, anti-Semitism, and so forth. And yes, you would find a copy of the Quran, a book that was not incidentally in the library of Thomas Jefferson. Like you, I love this country. And like you, maybe all of you, spoken in the words earlier by Gene Pettis, I deeply worry about a climate of anger and hate that has been prevalent for the past several years in a way that I have not seen heretofore in my whole life. You could see this so frequently when the topic of immigration is raised. I was struck just a couple of days ago by the words of President Obama, who spoke at the National Prayer Breakfast. He was speaking, you'll recall, about the atrocities which we all condemn of ISIS. And he was so bold as to compare those to the bloodshed committed throughout history in the name of Christianity. And I say this as a lifelong Christian. And said the president, quote, "Lest we get on our high horse and think this is unique to some other place. Remember that during the Crusades and the Inquisition, people committed terrible deeds in the name of Christ." And then he went on to say, quote, "In our home country, slavery and Jim Crow all too often were justified in the name of Christ." And he spoke about terrorism committed under the guise of Islam, reminding us all of the degree to which faith, in his words, could be twisted and misused. Now, some of you are aware that immediately after, Rush Limbaugh had a field day, acted and reacted with horror. The former governor of Virginia spoke of it as the most un-American, un-Christian speech he had ever heard. But in fact, my friends, what the president spoke was the truth, borne out fully by history, including American history. He was reminding us, it seems to me, that the use of religion to justify violence, quote, is not unique to one group or one religion. And I would say amen. It reminded me anew that living up to the highest ideals of America requires each of us to confront ourselves, and to learn and live the genuine lessons of history and humanity. And it makes me think that it would behoove us to be reminded of one of the most glorious peaks of our common civilization, It came during the flourishing centuries of collaboration in Al-Andalus on the Iberian Peninsula, reflected in an extraordinarily robust exchange of ideas among Islamic, Christian, and Jewish scholars, fueled by great universities of that time in Cordoba and Sevilla and Toledo. And that search for understanding was profound. So much of it later lost in conquest and reconquest. And it is in that spirit that I think what FIU is doing deserves the support of everyone in our community. I would hope that each of us would do our part to fulfill the promise of our own community and our own country, to rededicate ourselves to a climate and culture where we are genuine neighbors in the best sense of the word, eager to understand one another, and that you and I would help make what FIU envisions the vision for each and all of us. It is in that spirit that I wish for everyone peace, shalom, salam. Thank you.